Hey guys, welcome in from the Polar Vortex. My name is Brian. I'm here at CityFly in New York City. A lot of people have been asking me lately for step-by-step video on the Emergent Sparkle Pupa that I posted on Instagram. It's a pattern from Lafontaines. It's a great fly for the Emergents, a good searching pattern for general caddis, and you can tie them in like 25 different colors. If you want more information about that, either email me or go get Caddis Flies by Gary, and you will be astounded with the information. This is probably one of the most productive caddis dry flies that we have. As you can see here, I tie box after box for the entire trout season. I tie them in 5-6 different key colors, and you can go upwards of 20, 25, 30 different color combinations depending on where you live. That's totally fine, but you know, it's extremely important to have a full box of caddis because they're productive 99% of the year in most places that you go. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get started. Alright guys, so today we're starting off with a Dry Fly Supreme number 10 in the vise from Partridge. Phenomenal dry fly hook, standard length, standard wire. Dubbing wise, we're going to be using the Antrim Blend Caddis dubbing from Jack's Tackle. This is the original DuPont Antron dubbing blend used by Lafontaines, and it's prescribed in his book, so you'll see more about that. You can get pretty much every color in the world, you know. We also have comparadun hair. You could use elk hair, you can use any kind of deer hair you want. I like this hair because it's really thin, great kind of lighter dun coloration, a little bit of modeling. I tie these in a variety of wing colors, and I've used all the different hair, not that big of a deal. I like this though, nice and thin, and ties in sparse, and will keep your fly floating for quite a while. Sparkle yarn, you can use, you know, any kind of UV2, Spirit River stuff. It doesn't really matter. I like the stuff that is actually corded like this. You can separate individual strands. You can control more and make sure that your portions are even, and it has a nice ragged, kind of crinkled quality to it that some of the hanked version or the spooled type doesn't really have. So that's why I like it, you know, kind of corded up here. All right. So we'll go ahead, we'll get our thread started. I'm going to start off with a 70 denier UTC. This is wood duck, and I kind of like the gold sheen of this for this fly because this is more of a hydropsyche, so you're going to get tans, golds, browns, etc. So clip it off right above the barb of the hook, okay? Sorry about the sirens out there. It's a busy night in New York. All right, so you're going to go ahead, you're going to separate your strands. I've already separated one here, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to comb it out a little bit. You're going to tie it in nice and loose and let it spin to the bottom of the hook, okay? So that's one. And for size 10, size 12s, I usually go with 2 full strands. So I'll take this one, I'm going to get my brush here, brush it out a little bit to start. It's a little tricky. You'll tend to tear it as you start to brush. So I don't go too crazy with the brushing because I end up losing a lot of material in this finer brush. Alright, so I'm just going to loosen it up a little bit. We can do some more later once it's on the fly. Okay, so I'm going to tie this one in right on the top. Okay. So I've got some excess here. I'll just go ahead, reach in, trim that off. You don't have to be too particular about this. These flies fish the best as they start to get really ragged. So we'll just go ahead and clean it up. Okay, don't worry about stuff sticking out. It does not matter. You're going to cover it up. These are really fast. Okay, so I'm just going to take the brush. I'm going to brush it out a little bit more. Separate some of these fibers for the next step. Okay, so now I got that going. Okay, so now we're going to take some Wonder Wax. You can use whatever you like. This is the original recipe, so I prefer it just for fun. Go ahead. Don't want to be shy about it. Okay, so we got that in there. Now it's time for the dubbing. This is a brown gold. You'll see the golden brown right here. That is the actual blend, it does have like I think a 35% clear antron blend as well, which is pretty hard to find. So you do want the original if you can get it. Okay, so I'm going to separate it. I've already chopped this up a little bit because I like to touch dub. Let's go ahead and touch it on. And if it seems sparse, that's because it is. You don't have to go too crazy. You could dub it just like this, but to get some more of that opaque quality to it, I'll take it and I will give it a light spin. Don't agonize over this part, all right? So go ahead and then slightly open wraps. Okay. In there. Not too shabby. I kind of want a thicker body, so a little bit more. Beautiful. All right, this is going to be covered up. This is going to give you kind of that dark, opaque body underneath the translucent bubble. Now, the sparkle yarn is going to be your air bubble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull one clump over the top. Don't worry about covering the whole shank yet. I fussed with it. I found that this is the easiest. Just go ahead, do one straight on the bottom and one straight on the top. 3-4 wraps, not too tight. Now I'm going to reach in. I don't have my bodkin, so I'll take my whip finisher and I'm going to reach in here and I'm going to pull this up. Okay, you can come in here and pull to the sides and it'll start to spread that out. Okay, nice. You'll see you can really kind of do 4 wraps or so. You can be pretty forceful with it. The bottom and the sides are the most important. The top isn't worth fussing over. You're going to trim a lot of that out of there anyway. So now you have a nice bubble. As you can see, it's, you know, roughly 360 degrees around the hook. I'll give it 3 more securing wraps. And we're going to reach in here, and I'm going to cut this off nice and close. Okay. Go ahead and clean up your head briefly to the front and back. And now I'm going to reach in here, and I'm going to take maybe 8 to 10 fibers, and I'm going to clip them right off the top. Okay. It's going to do 2 things. This is going to create our trailing shuck, give you that nice sparkly shuck. Matter of fact, that's quite a bit, so I'll reach in here and I will cut them at different lengths, really fray it up. Okay. This also clears the landing pad for your wing over the top. So now we'll take our compare done here. I'm going to try to do this smoothly. I've got a lot of static in this room right now, so this should be interesting. So go ahead, you're going to take a clump of hair and you're going to pull it 90 degrees off the hide. And you can take more hair than you expect for this fly, just because, you know, I like them to float for quite a while. I don't want to add a lot of floating to it if I don't have to. So I take a good sized clump. You'll see here in a minute when I tie it in. I'm going to brush out the butt ends. Get any of those fuzzies out of there. I don't want to slice my thread. I don't need the fuzz in there getting in my way. And you go ahead and you put it in your hair stacker. Okay. And success. Okay. I have the extra large hair stacker, so it's kind of a pain, but that's alright. Alright. A little bit of fuzzy still in there, but it's good enough. Okay, so you're going to take it. If you got some stragglers, you can pull them out. Now I like this to go just maybe halfway down my tail. So whatever my shank or shuck length is, I'm going around halfway. You know, their wings tend to be a little bit longer than the body, so you don't have to, you know, you don't want to go the same length as the body, and you don't want to go, you know, 2 shank lengths past. So 3 through. I'm going to pull these butts back and wrap through them a little bit as I go forward. There we go. Okay. Reach in. I'm going to pull these away from the other clump, and at a slight angle, I'm trimming them away. Okay. Beautiful. Make sure it's all cleaned up. I'm going to take some off around the head here. There we go. All right, you could leave it like this. I'm sure the trout wouldn't care. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to wrap back over loosely without wrapping back into my wing. I don't want to fold it down. I want to keep it up in the air. You can do a darker brown dubbing, you know, a nice dark head. I have more brown dubbing convenient. So I'll just take a little bit, spin it on my thread. This will darken up when it flies in the water. Okay. I tend to do a lot of, you know, beaver dubbing or mole dubbing. That's all fine. Looking pretty good. Okay. And a 4-turn whip finish. Take a look at it, everything looks all right. That is your Emergent Sparkle Pupa.